Oh man, I'm so happy to have Kyung Pak here with me today. Kyung, can you tell me how your day has been going so far?
Thank you for having me, first of all. And it's been so far so good. I came back from a 3 week trip in Israel about 2 days ago, actually. I came back Sunday night, and this is the second day after returning. And yesterday, I taught 2 classes, my usual classes. Great way to come back and get back to my routine. And this morning, after I sent off my son to a program, I actually came to do some workout. And here I am with you after. Cannot be any better.
Oh, amazing. That sounds so cool. Well, first, let me ask, what is your connection to Israel?
My partner, Kashi, is from Israel. And this is the first time that we visit together to meet friends and family. Of course, there are lots of holy sites, spiritual sites. So I got to visit those places.
Wow.
I've been India once, and I was feel that those spiritual places, quote so called, do carry certain special energy. And I was actually quite curious. I grew up as a Christian because of my parents in Korea. A lot of them are Christians. And until high school, I really tried to connect with God through Christianism, but it didn't work for me. But I still have a lot of reverence to the Jesus, and especially after I met yoga, Jesus became actually closer.
Yeah.
As you can look at him as also yogi,
Yes.
enlightened being, and
Yes.
with love. So I was curious about my own feelings and perception. What would I learn? And it's been very special. I'm still digesting.
Oh, amazing. So I'm wondering what sites did you visit while you're in Israel? Did you go to Jerusalem? Did you try to visit holy sites within Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, or did you stick solely with going to Christian churches? What was your experience and while you were there?
So I would call myself spiritual, but not religious.
Yeah.
So with that, I truly believe that like there are many paths, but leading to one truth.
Yes.
And so I didn't have any particular preference as to the religious sectors. But my partner Kashi, he has a big family, and we stayed with one of his brothers who lives right outside the Jerusalem walls. So first I visited Jerusalem. There are many sites in very small geographical area, like the church where Jesus was crucified, where he was arrested, the tomb, and also there's the Western Wall. There's a little market, old market that had a Jewish quarter, Christian quarter, and also Muslim quarter. Um, and then there are some other sites like Galilee or like a Jordan River where John baptized Jesus. And then also Judea Desert. The Israel is small relatively, so I felt like wherever I go, there's some history. Even like when you see sunset over the desert, oh, this is really like one of those biblical sceneries.
Yeah. Yes.
And yeah, so and I got to see some other like not only Jewish people, you meet many different people from different walks or different religions, and then they express in public, so you can tell they are Jewish, they are religious, or they are Orthodox, or they are Arabs, they are Bedouins, they are Druze. They are all Samaritans, and it was quite incredible. And
Wow. Yeah.
his few family members live in West Bank,
Gotcha.
which I learned some of the city Israelis don't actually visit often.
All right.
But I got to see so a lot of different aspects, religious, not religious, different people from different walks or different religions working together or living together, or just it was all just human. It was,
Uh,
of course, it's
yes.
not like everybody get along or everybody love each other all the time, but it was that human living.
Yeah, amazing. I want to go so bad. I've heard it's incredible, and I love hearing your stories. It makes me want to go even more. Did you, from a spiritual perspective, could you feel the energy of the place? Do you feel like it enhanced your overall spiritual understanding? How were you able to relate some of the experiences being a non like specific religious person into your own spiritual practice?
Well, personally, first of all, I come from Korea, and then perhaps we get to talk about a little bit about me, but my background and upbringing, or even being an immigrant and becoming a student of Dharma, this whole story is quite different from my beloved partner, Kashi, who grew up in Israel in kibbutz and lived in India for like 28 years and traveling. So it was a privilege for me to go and see where he grew up.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just helped a lot culturally, personally. There was something very special.
That's cool.
But from spiritual perspective, I did have some anticipation because a couple of my dear friends, one is also Korean who used to live in New York. And I think you know Pam Jones. She's my dear mentor, dear friend.
Yes.
Both of them told me Israel is one of their favorite places. So I had some, I guess, anticipation. But when I landed, and I know it sounds strange because Israel and Korea are completely different, the externally, but there was like immediate sense of familiarity. The
Mm.
people, the energy, even like how the city was built. It's not same the look of it, but there's some familiarity. The people, how they interact, old market. So it didn't feel like it's a completely new place. It felt like
Uh,
oh, I feel like I've been here before. So there was no, for me, it was very comfortable from
nice.
the beginning.
That's a
Maybe because I had Kashi too, but
y- yeah, I understand what you mean, but that's such a cool way of seeing it. I really, oh, that's amazing, Kyung. You know,
thank you.
I do want to hear about your story. I mean, so you were born in Korea, North or South Korea?
South Korea, Seoul.
Yeah. And then and how long did you live there and when did you first start to travel internationally?
Well, I have a little story. I grew up in 70s and 80s, and I was first child, and my parents, they uh, had a lot of difficulties throughout in my childhood, and particularly my mother was um, emotionally and also physically, I'd say, like going through a lot of hard times, and which did not make my childhood easy. And when I was in college, my father, who was businessman then, got really sick. So he became deaf and bedridden pretty much, but he couldn't cope with difficulties very well. So he turned to alcohol. So in my college period, it was very, very difficult because when I come home, um, I would see the broken alcohol bottles, and my father was so frustrated and drunk and sad and desperate. While my mother didn't know how to make a living. Um, all she knew was staying home. So at the time, I met my son's biological father, who was much older than me, who offered to go to the US because he's going. And he told me that he would help me to study. At the time, I was in the university. I was very young, and that sounded like a just amazing plan. So in a way, I escaped by marrying. So literally day after wedding, I moved to the US with him. First, I went to Guam. I was at the time 23 and became pregnant right away. I didn't have anyone around. I really didn't know anything about life in general because my parents, my mother especially, were very strict and then very like a lot of pressure. Uh, what I want didn't matter. It was about what she want me to be. So I didn't really know anything, and then few months later, we moved to San Diego, and then Sean was born shortly after with Down syndrome, which I actually didn't know during the pregnancy. So that's when I was 24.
And say that again, Kyung. I don't know if I heard fully. You said, um, d- did you what happened when your son was born?
Down syndrome. My son was
Oh,
born
I,
in Down syndrome. If you're
yes,
familiar with
yes.
it, he has one extra chromosome.
How old is he now?
He's 26 now.
Yes. Amazing. Amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's like um everyone that I know that has Downs is so sweet and so kind. Can you talk a little bit about what your experience has been being a mom? I mean, surely you are so in love with him and he's like the most amazing kid, a person, man. How can you tell me about your
Oh,
experience?
yeah. Thank you for asking. And any mom can talk about their child forever.
Yeah.
For me, I was at the time when I was pregnant, I was 23. And at the time, I didn't have money to go to a doctor, so I didn't know actually he had a condition. And thank God for that, because if I knew what would have happened, right? It's your first child, and everybody back then, like, oh, you'll be fine. You are so young. It'll be just healthy. And um, at the time, like 4 months after I immigrated to Guam, we had to move somewhere. And I still remember I looked at the map and I was very ignorant with the geography. And in the whole US, all I knew was Los Angeles. And on the other side, there's Virginia, and my aunt lived there. And I didn't want to be burdened on her. And all the rest I didn't know. So I was looking at Los Angeles. Then I remember people saying, if you go to Los Angeles, there are too many Koreans, you'll never learn English. Yeah. As I looked down a little bit, I saw San Diego on the map, and I had a college friend who did the ESL course in San Diego. So I heard of the name San Diego. So I was like, oh, I've heard of San Diego. I didn't know anything about weather, nothing. We'll just go to San Diego. So
Well, you kind of hit the jackpot because San Diego is one of the
Exactly.
nicest places in the United States. And so what a interesting, yeah, I mean that's so fascinating that you didn't really know what you were going to get when you got there. You could have picked Oklahoma, you could have picked
Yeah.
South Dakota, but somehow you ended up going right to San Diego. Well, that's
Yeah.
amazing. So and,
It's a
and
blessing.
Your English is so good. Well done. I know that'd be so hard. Like if I try to learn Korean, it would take me I'd have to work so hard to learn all new characters and everything. Were you exposed to English growing up in Korea?
Yeah, we did grammar mostly, but it's for the purpose of taking exams, not necessarily for actual use of
Like
English.
conversation and yeah, yeah,
Yeah, of
yeah,
course, back then also all the English teachers probably couldn't really converse with native Americans or like native speakers. Um, so when I came, I had to learn. And going back to Sean, so the moving to San Diego for me was now I think of it, it was really like God's plan, like a blessing. It's just I cannot make this up, right? Like
yeah, yeah,
how.
yeah.
And when Sean was born, actually, the social worker said San Diego is one of the best places to raise a child with special needs.
Wow.
The community is good. There's a good support system. So I think it's everything was meant to be. So when I had Sean, I still didn't speak English. I couldn't hear. I couldn't hear it. You know, your ear has to hear first before you speak, actually. But when I had Sean, because of I had to go to doctor all the time. I had to learn English so I can help my
Yes,
son.
yes, yes. Amazing. Well, were you with his biological dad through all of this, or were you single parenting from the time of his birth?
So when I had Sean, of course, biological father, he didn't know it. And shortly after Sean was born, um, I realized he was not equipped to cope with it. And for me, also, like the first 2 months, I remember crying every day. I knew um, pretty much immediately. Doctor said, like, we believe that Sean, my son's name is Sean, Sean has Down syndrome, and but we still have to take a test. It'll take 2 weeks. And I majored food and nutritional science. So I understood some of the scientific terms. And then when I look at Sean, I was full on denial. But deep inside, I knew it was true. Like I knew it, but I still was in denial. And I cried like nonstop, probably for 2 months. Not because for me, back then I thought Sean will not be loved like other children by others because of his condition. And in 2 months, after 2 months, both social worker came and her name was Cindy, I still remember. And back then, other than doctors, I never really had anyone like Americans that I was talking or meeting. And social worker comes, and first word she said was, "How adorable!" As soon as she looked at Sean, it's how adorable. And that's the first time actually I heard someone using word adorable, and it really hit me. And I
Ah,
thought, a stranger comes and take a one look at Sean, and she says these beautiful words. I'm a mom. What am I crying for?
yeah.
And after that, I never cried.
Wow. What
And
a cool
then,
story, Kyung. Wow.
and then, but I looked at my ex, and he couldn't cope. And I thought, okay, I am too young to be with him for my life just because we have a child together.
Yeah.
So about 1 year in, I told him I don't need anything. I'll raise Sean. We should do part ways. And one day he got really upset. So, and then it led into domestic violence. And
Oh,
uh, yeah, and
I'm so sorry.
at the end, he just left the country, never to be seen, which
Yes. Yeah.
actually was, in a way, better. So
Yes.
my mom actually also came over to help with childbirth, but she never left. So I started working back then. I have some fun stories actually for very
Well,
initial work that I did.
well, tell me. I like fun stories.
So the very the at the time I didn't have a status. At the time I was able to actually apply for a visa for domestic violence victims. But every immigration case takes forever. So I wasn't illegal because I'm in process of changing visa, but I didn't have a working permit. So I had to work under the table. And I didn't have a whole lot of options. And somehow I got hired by this cafe in government building, and then the owners were Koreans. It's like a daily cafe, like where this building has a little floor, little rest, and then people come, the workers come and buy sandwiches and stuff. And it was a federal building in downtown.
Yeah.
And at the time, I think it was basically immigration department was there. And because it's a federal building, you had to go through security. Everyone had wearing this little card. And I was working, but I didn't have any social security. I didn't have anything, so they couldn't make me the permit. So some point, I think everyone knew, like I was illegal, especially immigration officers who come to the cafe for lunch, Delhi for lunch. They all knew me, and then they realized I couldn't get the permit because I didn't have status. So they actually came to the owner, my boss, say like, I know she's wonderful, but she cannot work here.
Uh,
So you gotta let her go. So I worked there for 2 months in the building legally where immigration office was.
that is
And I,
classic. That is a good story,
that's,
especially right now with the climate of immigration in America. I'm just so curious, how are you feeling? Are you feeling like well, I just should ask you instead of planting any seeds of how you're feeling. How are you feeling currently about the overall vibe for immigrants in US right now?
well, like, of course I'm an immigrant, and I believe in, the immigrants come for reasons, right? If they could stay where in their own countries, they would have. Like it's not easy to leave everything behind and decide to start something from the bottom without knowing anything. And back then, looking at myself, I was so young and ignorant. And in Korea, there's a saying something similar to ignorance is bliss. In Korea, they say ignorance is bravery. And I think that if I knew what I had to go through as an immigrant, I don't think I would have had the courage to pack two large
Mhm.
luggages and just hop on the airplane.
Wow. Yes, yes.
So, and in the perspective of humanity, we have, the mercy is, I think, the most valuable quality that makes a human as human, n- differentiating from a lot of other perhaps beings.
Yes.
And in any groups, whether that's immigrants or whether that's native residents, there can be good people, some portion, there can be some bad apples. So I think that's the case for anywhere, everywhere. So just stereotyping and defining one particular group as this and that and this and that, it's not only dangerous, but also it's not very beneficial for um, even people who live here already.
Yes. Yes, Kyung. Thank you.
Mhm.
Beautifully said. Wonderful. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I can't agree more. So it's so wonderful to hear it from you. Thank you.
With that said, I am a very blessed person because you think of the so-called American dream is actually very real for me. For me, American dream was, especially when I didn't have a spirituality, that was the light that I had my direction towards. That was the guidance, right? That was the faith. And so I am very, very grateful for the blessings in
And
the US.
and Kyung, you're keeping the American spirit alive by telling your story because you're right. And I love that you are bringing attention to the fact that, say, like you just said before, I had a spiritual practice. For a lot of people, a spiritual practice is a source of meaning and a source of purpose. And so if there's some type of light, and I love the fact that you're bringing attention to the fact that the American dream as the concept is a source of light for like every single person that comes here, that came here. I mean, the simple fact that all of us are immigrants except for Native Americans, it just blows my
Yeah.
mind. Like the irony of that, it blows my mind that like that we all can't see it the way that you're describing it. Too much time has gone by and we forgot. I guess the people that live here forgot that they came from somewhere else. So thank you for reminding me, and I really appreciate that. I think that's so important. So then on that note, before we started, I really wanted to, you have, for those of you listening and not watching on YouTube, you have a t-shirt on that says Broom Street. So straight away when I see that shirt, I know that Eddie Stern made that shirt. So then I can get a glimpse of like, okay, well, you know what Ashtanga yoga is. But then prior to that, you said that you got a chance to practice with Tim Miller. That's where my wife's name is Tamra. We used to have a Bikram yoga studio in Mira Mesa Boulevard by the 15 in San Diego. And we were there in the years between 2001 and 2005. But so while we were owning or co-owning the studio in Mira Mesa, we lived in Carmel Valley and we would go practice with Tim Miller on East Street and in Encinitas every day until he moved over to the Carlsbad studio. So Tim is our teacher
My
and we loved
gosh.
him. So when you told me that you practiced with Tim, I kind of wanted to wait to talk about it till we hit record, but I'm just so grateful to meet another person that is in love with yoga and knows Tim as well because I really loved Tim and I missed him so much. And so I'd love
Oh
to
my
hear I
goodness.
really can't wait to hear about your yoga journey thing because, you know, living in San Diego is kind of believed to be one of the yoga meccas of the United States because of the amount of yoga practitioners, teachers, gurus have traveled and lived throughout that area. So I'm so excited. I love hearing your personal details and hearing about your son, and I want to hear more about that, but I also want to make sure I start asking you a few questions about your yoga journey
Yoga.
too. Yeah, just because I want to hear about how then, if you, I mean, obviously you got your immigration and you have a tax ID number or whatever it's called, a social security
Social
number. So
Security.
thank you.
Yeah.
And so now you don't have to worry. But I'm
No.
curious, yeah, tell me how your yoga came into the picture.
So the first 10 years, I say, I worked very, very hard. And my mom thankfully helped with Sean. It's interesting because I had a very, very difficult time with my mom growing up. Um, in some way, my mother was very strict, also physically um, very harsh. So they it was very difficult for me to be with my mom, but there was different plan, right? Like the God sent my mom to be with me for entire time. Actually, she helping me with Sean while I'm working.
Amazing. Amazing.
And
Yeah. I can't imagine
uh,
being a single parent without a parent to help, right? Like absolutely
yeah,
critical. Yeah.
because I was so I couldn't work in the cafe very much. So
Yeah.
I started working at a restaurant in the beginning under the table and gradually when I got the status. But I worked at a restaurant almost 10 years until I started law school and finished it.
Wow. Wow, Kyung. Amazing. So then you became a
So
lawyer. You got your law degree?
yeah, so when I
Wow.
was working at a restaurant, I knew I couldn't do waitressing for my life. I had to change something more sustainable, but I didn't have money, I didn't have time, I had to make a living. So one day I used to work lunch and dinner shift, and there would be like a couple of hours break. I'd be just like this, sitting in the car, just getting some rest. I was reading some local magazine, newspaper, and there was this advertisement for USD paralegal program. And it was short. You become certified. You can work at the law office. So I thought, whoa, this is really cool. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time, much less money than going to another degree. I can do this. But even then, I was so scared not being able to work. So I waited another year after taking TOEIC exam. And then I finally entered into paralegal program. I was still working. I did a night program. And the first class I saw, I still remember it was Introduction to Law. And all the professors were lawyers. And by then, I never met a lawyer before, in Korean, American all together. And they were speaking such good English, obviously. I was so inspired. Wow, I want to speak like her so eloquently, so clearly. And they started teaching. It was so interesting. And after a month of this course, the course was done. I'm like, oh, you just started. Why do you stop? But it was a paralegal program. We didn't have to know any more than what they taught in month. So I wanted to know more. I went to local library. I looked at LSAT textbook, and I thought, okay, I think I can do this. And USD gave a little discount for LSAT prep course. So I signed up a month later, and it was 2 months course. I finished it. It was December. So I took first LSAT in February, and then I started law school in August.
Wow.
So it was pretty quick. And then I still worked under the table. I'm now under the table at the restaurant while I was going to the law school. I had actually a lot of job actually during law school. I was doing externship, internship. I was assisting some professors. So I think at some point I had like 5 gigs going on.
Wow.
So I worked very hard. And back then, Sean also medically and also development wise, he barely spoke. He had a lot of medical issues and then he didn't sleep very much. So my dream back then was sleeping more than 5 hours a day. My dream was if I can just sit and watch TV for just 2 hours. That was my actually dream.
Yes.
And then when I finished the law school, when I was 10, and I got licensed right away, but it was recession. And I couldn't afford not
Is
being,
this '08? Is this '08, '09?
yeah, I graduated 2009 and I became a lawyer 2010.
Mm.
And I finished the law school a little bit quickly. Like I finished it instead of 3 years, I finished in 2.5 hours. I mean, years, because I was already 30 something. I was much older than most students. So I wanted to just move through quickly. I got my patent attorney license after first year, and I graduated and I took the bar right away. And I became a lawyer in June 2010. But still, recession was strong. No one was getting hired, and I couldn't afford moving to bigger cities because of Sean, or I couldn't just take a break because either I waitress or something else. And I couldn't continue waitressing as a lawyer in my mind. Like, okay, I'm gonna give a time. My birthday is like end of July, so I'll give time until my birthday. And if I cannot find a job, I'll I'll open my own. So that's what I did. I started my own practice,
Ah,
and when I that was when I was like 35, and when I became 40 years old, actually that's when I started actually doing some yoga because the job was quite stressful. I started going to yoga studio to reduce some stress. But it was just going once or twice a week and very light, nothing spiritual. It was just movement and then calming some nerve system. But when I became 40 years old, I wanted to give myself something learning. And then I thought, oh, okay, well, then I'm gonna do yoga training at Core Power Yoga, which I was going to at the time, and because I want to know more about yoga. But back then, the core power yoga training wasn't too much of a spirituality. It was more of how to give a good vinyasa class. It was more of instructions. But for me, it was very useful because I'm not a native English speaker. For me, it was very good practice. And also, I didn't do any sports prior to I didn't move my body.
yeah.
Didn't even do one push up until. So for me, it was a good opportunity to get into a little more of my body, and then I think that was 2016, just a year later. I was visiting New York for the first time, and I thought, at the time, my ex was like, why don't you go to some yoga? You like yoga. So I'm like, okay. I Googled, um, and there was a little article about most influential yoga teachers in the US. And I word searched New York, and the Sri Dharma Mittra popped up,
Uh-huh.
and then it said he's the only living yoga master who's still teaching. So I was so intrigued. Okay, I'll go. And that was during the Valentine's week, super cold. So I visited the Dharma Yoga Center. Like I think it was on Valentine's Day, but Dharma was in Kripalu, so he wasn't there.
Yeah.
And guess who I met then? Andrew.
Oh,
Andrew
that's
Jones.
awesome.
Andrew was teaching. And later I realized he was giving out these vegan chocolates, homemade vegan chocolates. Guess
Yes, from
who would
Pam.
have made it?
Of course,
Pam.
Pam. Oh my gosh, I know.
Yeah.
Andrew and Pam did a yoga and donuts class here once where
Mm.
they Pam made these vegan donuts and we were trying to
Oh,
lure
I know
people
it
in.
very
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so amazing, right? She's such a good chef. Oh my gosh. That's
Oh
so
my goodness.
cool.
So
So
who
so
knew?
so
Yeah.
without even meeting Dharma, you were already like, oh, okay, I think I like this Dharma Yoga Center. Yeah, I have this really nice guy named
Well,
Andrew, and I have yummy chocolate treats from Pam.
when I walked in, it was completely different from anything I knew. And then when Andrew was doing the class, so by back then, like imagine that I knew nothing about spiritual. I never had anyone spiritual. I didn't look into anything I didn't know much about chakra, no nothing. And he started doing visa mantra. So you can imagine, I'm like, what is this? Like
Yeah.
ram, 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 ram.
Yeah. Yes.
So just everything came in, and the next day I was going back to San Diego, but I had just about time to visit the center one more time, and Dharma was to come. So I went, and I saw Dharma walking in. I just remember clearly. And I was, doing yoga in core power. So when Dharma was instructing side plank, Pashistasana, I'm like, oh, I know this. I try to do this. And Dharma would come. And then he'll just touch my toe, and then this should be right here. And then I just broke. Like I couldn't do anything. Like everything I knew or I thought I knew wasn't there. And then he
Wow.
came to me about 3 times to adjust. And I just realized I don't think I know anything.
Yeah.
And during the Shavasana, at the time he had a long Shavasana, like about 15, 20 minutes. I lie down and close my eyes. Everything was green the whole time. I saw bright green light just whole time. And I didn't know what it was. It- I just had the feeling that I have to come back, not necessarily to learn yoga that I was thinking. I wanted to see what a real yogi is like. So I had planted this seed, and it took 2 years for me to come. There was 500-hour training in 2018. And it was a lot of preparation for me because the work and time, the commitment. But when I came and I sat, and then I remember like it was a big group, but first word he said, it, everything changed. My life completely changed. He said, without yamas and niyamas, there's no yoga. Become vegan, vegetarian. So that moment, I became vegan. And there were moments where, out of all the people, Dharma would say something, but he's answering to my question for whole life, something like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's how I met Dharma, and that was
Wow.
it.
Oh my gosh, Kyung, that's so awesome. I love hearing your
And
story.
the
Ah,
time, guess who was my small group mentor? That was Pam.
yeah. Well, and so when you practice now,
Mm-hmm.
so you practice today, yes?
Yeah, I practiced that.
Could you do a
Well,
little,
uh-huh.
yeah. So I'm curious then what was your how are you directing your practice now? Because I know there's like so many poses we can do, and there's so many breathing exercises, and there's mantras, and there's all these great things. But I can feel your infectious sort of enthusiasm for life, working hard, and then opening up and having all these new avenues to explore. So I'm curious, and also you're lit up a little bit from coming back from Israel and having all these incredible experiences there. So I'm just kind of curious, like today when you practice, what sort of insights did you have?
So I think now I recognize more so is that everything changes. There's progress. There are phases that one goes through, and if you allow me, just going back to meeting Dharma, and when I took that training, it was just life changing. It was so much. I was the first time my heart was just pounding and full. So I had this so much eagerness. When I came back to San Diego, I was actually quite desperate because, oh, if I were in New York, I would be progressing so much faster. How come I don't have a teacher? And that's how I actually searched a teacher. met Tim Miller. If you know Holly,
Oh,
Holly became my great, great teacher and
I
friend. She's
love
like a
Holly.
family.
I
Yeah, Steve.
yes, I had a chance to interview Holly here on the podcast. So
My
Holly, yeah,
goodness.
Holly is awesome. I've had a chance to go to Holly's house and practice over there. They're so fun.
Yeah, Bill
Actually, not practice, but
and
to a gathering, but nonetheless, yes, yes. Sorry, I'll let you. I want
so
you. Yeah.
it's so we are so connected. We didn't even know.
Well, great point, Kyung. I had a good
Yeah.
feeling because Andrew introduced us, and Andrew's been super kind and introducing me to the most amazing people. So I knew once we started corresponding, I was just so excited to meet you. Well, okay, so you were like, I
What?
want more, and you start practicing some yoga with Tim. This is in what year? This is in twenty
So
twenty,
1890
2019.
to
Gotcha. Yeah.
19.
Yeah.
And Team Carlsbad was still pretty far. At the time, I was living in Rancho Penasquitos. And so I would go on the weekend for lead class. And that's where actually I met Holly.
Yeah.
And you know Holly.
Yes.
Holly's not only a great teacher, but she's just, her sweetness is just
So
not even
fun.
comparable.
Yeah,
She's
she's just
just a wonderful person with big heart.
yes.
And I wanted to be like her, just that beautiful heart. So I learned some point she teaches some improv classes or just variation classes in sort of yoga. So that's where I started going, became good friend. And then when the pandemic came, Tim stopped teaching. But Holly took over and she continued to go to Shasta retreat, Mount
Yeah.
Shasta.
I never did that retreat. Did you go with Holly? Did you go?
Oh, it's been tradition. I went last year too, partially,
Oh,
but
nice.
the first one was during the pandemic. And another thing that time was Dharma started teaching online. So I had this couple of years of like being feeling desperate, feeling missing out, a lot of FOMO, a lot of frustration for not being able to find the teacher right in front of me. And then all of a sudden, Dharma's online. So I literally, I think for at least 2 years, I never missed this class, like probably missed less than five. So I was just showing up all the time. That's when actually my practice really progressed in some way. And you can see my mind, once it's filled with, um, the desires become fulfilled, like satisfied to a certain extent, it's ready to go to the next. So after that, everything comes back to normal. And 2024, I got to visit India, actually with Gabrielle and some other yogis.
Ah, Gabrielle Ohm. Yeah, I had her.
Yeah, to the
Yeah, cool, cool.
Himalayas.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. So that was also very, very impactful for me, the just visit itself. So when I came back, I craved some other connections that's different from just looking for in this the world of what I know. I wanted to go see more, and I learned that we have in San Diego. I don't know if you know. There's Anjaneya Temple, Hanuman Temple.
I have not been to it, but I have heard about
It's
it.
beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. And turned out that another Ashtangi, Andrew Hillam, wonderful teacher, he
Yes,
from Joyce Yoga, he was teaching there. And I knew, but I somehow didn't visit for a long time. I never visited, and somehow someone just commented, and somehow it just led me to the place right after the India trip. And when I walked into Hanuman Temple, once again, it fed my mind. And Andrew was teaching my soul, and he looked at me and mentioned about, yeah, I just came back from India, and he recognized the why I showed up. It's like he mentioned something like, you left a part of you there. So I'm like, yes, that's as I started coming. So I got to practice with also Andrew Ashtanga. So whenever I visit Dharma in New York, I would go home street because it's also Ashtanga and it's a temple. I didn't actually know Eddie Stern. Actually, the temple came first to me. I want to go to temple. And then turned out he's a well-known teacher. And actually, the first time I visited Broom Street Temple was for puja because I wanted just be in that spirit. And the pujari was chanting this all the mantra. And after the puja, the pujari went in, and then he came out with a super cool modern clothes, very fashionable jeans. And I had some question about, I think, Ganesha. So I went to the pujari with now cool clothes. So I have some question. And I looked at him and I said, "Oh, you are Eddie Stern." And he was like, "Yeah."
I know,
So
isn't Eddie amazing? When Eddie starts chanting, it's like you feel transported because he is so deep in it. It's amazing.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was how I got to know Broom Street. So whenever I go to New York, there are a few places I uh, visit. Just feel that love, feel that
Yes.
connection.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I hear you. The Broome Street Temple is amazing. I had a chance to go to it before he moved because he was there, had the temple, then moved to Brooklyn, and then ended up moving
Ah,
back into that same building, which is incredible because that Ganesha temple is just phenomenal. And yeah, first time I saw it, I thought, how did they even install this in here? Like, because it's such a interesting, like
yeah.
you're so, up high in a building somewhere. It's fascinating that they were able to install that whole temple. So the fact that they took it apart and then went back to the same place and put it back together again is like incredible. So I agree. Anybody listening that goes to New York City, visit Dharma Mitra and go to the Eddie Stearns Broome Street Temple. Those are like two of the New York meccas for yoga for sure.
Yeah, and you get to have some cool t-shirt.
And you get to get a cool t-shirt. Like you're a punk rock Ramones listener. That's right.
Yeah.
You know it. You know it. Oh my gosh, Kyung. Well, I don't want to stop talking to you. I know we're almost really close to being here together for an hour, but I don't want to stop. Maybe we can do a part two. Maybe we can
It'd
do
be
a
lovely.
part two, and then I can ask you more questions because I'm glad that I was able to hear some of your background and story about, your journey from Korea to America, being a single
Mhm.
mom, raising your son, becoming a lawyer, becoming a yogini, traveling around,
Thank
doing teacher
you.
training. Now, are you teaching yoga in San Diego? You're a yoga teacher, practitioner, teacher?
Yeah, I've been teaching actually before I met Dharma, because after the teacher training that I gave myself as birthday gift, even if I didn't plan to teach, the opportunity came. The company, Core Power Yoga company, asked because they were opening a new studio. And how I remember, I was not a skilled teacher. I remember, but I have still some of the students who saw me the 10 years ago when I started teaching, still coming to my class.
Nice.
So I've been teaching at Core Power, and there was a time where I felt like, after I met Dharma, oh, I want to teach Dharma yoga. I want to teach the things that I learned from Dharma more than just like vinyasa, more than asana. But then I realized, if you can teach before Dharma yogis, they are already like heart wide open. They are receptive. It's easy. It's like a bubble in the bubble. Everything is just so already set up. Um,
Yeah,
but
good
and then
good
it's
insight. Yeah.
wonderful,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
then here in the community, if I can bring what I received from Dharma, it can be something new for my students. It can be something different for the community. And those who are receptive, they'll receive. And if it doesn't work, they don't have to. There's also timing too. So I've been really enjoying sharing at Core Power Yoga. We have really beautiful um, here. And also I teach Dharma Yoga Wheel in my home. And now I live in Scripps Ranch on like Mira Mesa Boulevard, another side of the
Yeah.
freeway.
I know where that
And
is.
I know
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
there's still the Bikram yoga studio in Mira Mesa.
Is it still
And
there? Is it
it's
still
still
there?
there. It has a different name now, like some because they had to
Yeah.
change the name from
Yeah.
Bikram.
Yeah.
But I've been there once
Oh, that's so
or a couple
cool.
of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's yeah, we have a lot of common grounds.
I agree. I know that's what I find is so fascinating to me, like to have this opportunity to interact and meet you and everything you're talking about and in relation to those big changes in life, like when you explained how when Dharma came over and just kind of touched your toe and said your toe should be right here, and your feeling of like I don't know anything, like and almost like a big shakedown of this sort of perception of the way you're seeing things,
Hmm.
and to have that come into question and then reorient. And I love the fact that you also, when you said I wanted to know more, and so whatever, like that curiosity that you have that's pushing you to keep growing and learning and stay open to trying new things and different things is just so refreshing, Kyung. And I everything that you spoke about in relation to how important it is to care for those that have a dream of living a better life and sharing that, those of us that have been able to achieve that, to be able to share that with others and keep that doorway open, that pathway open, I think is like really at the heart of what we're all about here, not just in America, but globally. So I think like it's really important that we connect and we share our stories, because this is how the world is going to continue to be an absolutely amazing place to live and grow and share. So
For sure.
yeah, I'm just really grateful to have this opportunity to connect with you, and I hope we can continue. And I know I have, just so that I can do my
Hmm.
get my housekeeping. Everybody can find you on Instagram at Ananda Devi underscore Kyung. And that link is in the description. So everyone listening that wants to follow you can just click and find you. And then I also, on your bio on your Instagram page, has the link to a retreat that you're going to be holding with Pam and Andrew. So those of you that practice here, that know Andrew and Pam, they teach a Dharma yoga class every Wednesday here at 6 o'clock. Can go to the link, and it's a really long name called sacred underscore heart underscore yoga underscore retreat dot dash mailchimpsites.com. But don't worry, you don't need to know any of that. Just go to your Instagram page, your bio, and they can find it. And then they can go to the link that I'm providing and they can find it too. And that would be amazing. It'd be so fun. You guys are doing a Sacred Heart Yoga Retreat in Peru with Kyung, Pam, Kashi, and Andrew. I'm in the process of organizing to interview Kashi. So we're working on that. He's in Israel still, so we're trying to figure out a date. But I can't wait to speak with him after meeting you. And that's going to happen on November 22nd and 30th in the Sacred Valley of Peru. Oh gosh, I just got to keep reading. It says, "What lies ahead of you is amazing." Well, I like that. And then it says, "When you are doing things together, you're inside the collective mind and share psychic knowledge with each other. That is how you become one." A quote by Sri Dharma Mitra. That looks incredible. Those little huts that you guys are. I'm sorry, I know I shouldn't get sidetracked here, but I really want to go to Peru. I want to go there. I want to go. I wish I could meet you
Oh,
guys. So
it is
hopefully,
such an honor to
hopefully,
have you.
oh, that would be incredible. That gives me time to plan. So maybe I can figure out a way for my wife and I to come join
Yes,
you guys. That would be incredible.
we are planting a seed
Yes.
and join the forces.
Yeah. Thank you, Kyung. This has been so fun. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Do you
And
have Do you have any
yeah,
final words you'd like to share? Anything to close with that you'd like to leave us on, and what kind of note you want to leave us on?
I would like to just share the one thing that I really cherish, that I learned from yoga is that the Purna mantra. Purna mantra. So there once, I think it was Kashi, we fear, like whether it's immigration, whether any other issues. I think we fear because it's some form of mechanism of self protection. We are afraid that something is going to harm us. And in some sense, let's say we have this idea that if I don't keep this pie, as or if someone takes this portion of pie, then there won't be enough for me. But yoga teaches that the abundance is our own nature. And when there's abundance, if something's taken out of the abundance remains. It doesn't shrink. And if we all can just remember that, maybe it'll help when the fear arises, which is natural, and we can support each other to remember.
Yes. Beautiful, Kyung. Thank you so much. You're
Thank
amazing.
you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm sorry about not sharing so much. I think I kind of skipped your question about
Mm,
Sean. Maybe I'll have opportunity to share more
No.
about Sean next
Yeah.
time.
All right. That sounds amazing, Kyung. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.